All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bitcoin TV Live. And today I got to shoot this video because I know there's a lot of my viewers out there that still need a little bit more clarity about what Ethereum is and what Ethereum Classic is, right? If you pay attention to the exchanges, they are two separate entities, and you kind of gotta get a little bit more education on each one of them so that you can be making the right choice when you're making your trades. Okay, so I'm gonna be referencing this site right here, ethscripture.com, and I'll leave a link to it at the bottom of this video so that you can go and refer back to it at your own time, right? But based on this site right here and how they break down Ether, this is perfect for the newbie, and it paints out a real-time use case, okay, a real-time scenario. Okay, so check this out. Okay, to understand what Ethereum is, I'm going to actually go over to ethereum.org, where you can go get the most official Ethereum documentation there is, right? And so Ethereum, or ETH, right? This is the Ethereum that was hard forked, and this was the intended purpose. This was the initial use case of this specific application, okay? And clearly it says Ethereum is a decentralized platform that runs smart contracts, okay? Applications that run exactly as programmed without any possibility of downtime, censorship, fraud, or third party, okay? So right there, Ethereum was supposed to be a decentralized platform that runs smart contracts, and these smart contracts are supposed to run exactly as programmed, okay? Exactly as programmed, without any possibility of downtime, without any possibility of censorship, without any possibility of fraud, right? So in layman's terms, okay, what is Ethereum, right? So let's take a look at it like this. Ethereum is the new kind of law, okay? Now let's explain real quick. Traditional law is a form of agreement. It is agreement among people and their leaders as to how people should behave. Okay, there are also legal contracts between individuals. These contracts are a form of private law that applies to the participants. Both types of agreement are enforced by a government's legal system. For example, if you loan somebody some money and they don't pay you back, you might take them to court. In practice, this is messy and unpredictable. Court cases require expensive lawyers to argue about the law and are often measured in years. And even if you win, you had a problem of collecting. Hopefully you wrote down those terms of that loan as a contract. However, the author of laws and the writers of contract face a special kind of challenge. Ideally, there should never be any confusion about the meaning of an agreement. But the laws are written with words, and words are famously imprecise. So these are the big problems with traditional law, okay? Agreements are ambiguous, and enforcement is hard. Ethereum solves both of these problems, all right? It does this with the marriage of two special ingredients, a digital currency and a complete programming language. Now let's take a look at both for a minute, okay? Now Ethereum includes a digital currency called Ether, all right? Ether has a lot in common with the famous digital currency Bitcoin. Both are purely digital store of value and means of exchange that cannot be counterfeited. Both are implemented so that no one can manipulate the currency supply. Both can be transferred around the world like email, and in a very final way like cash. All right. Now both had a value today. Both had a value that they had today because users expect them to have value tomorrow. Okay. And because they can do things that traditional money can't do. Period. Point blank. Okay. Now, Ethereum's other half is that complete programming language, okay? Now, this is often called EtherScript, and I'm going to leave a link to the EtherScript, and you can play around with that if you're familiar with programming at all right? So, a programming language is how people tell computers what to do. Computers are not able to guess what humans really intend, so instructions written in a programming language are precise. There is no ambiguity about how a computer will run a program. Under the same conditions, it will always run the same way. This feature would be great to have in legal contracts and human law. We can do this actually by writing such agreements in EtherScript. So this is why this thing is powerful, all right? Again, Ethereum is a decentralized application for creating smart contracts, all right? And so if we were using these types of smart contracts in human law and in legal contracts as of today, then there wouldn't be all of the controversies and things that we have, like we have in the news today, right? So Ethereum is both a digital currency and a programming language, but it is the combination of these ingredients that make it special. Okay, since most of the agreements involve the exchange of economic value or have economic consequences, we can implement whole categories of public and private law using Ethereum. An agreement involving transfer of value can be precisely defined and automatically enforced with the same script. Let's look at an example, okay? Let's say you built a website and someone wants to buy the website for $5,000, but they can only pay in March. In the traditional approach, you would transfer the control of the website and then write down what's been agreed on a piece of paper. March arrives and it seems that there's been some confusion. You assume that the contract meant this May, but they insist they meant next March. I'm talking about March. I'm sorry, I'm lost in time. But March arrives and it seems that there's been some confusion. You assume that the contract meant this March, but they insist they meant next March. Okay, get ready to argue the court about the meaning of March in court. Now, using Ethereum, you might define the agreement in the form of EtherScript that's readable to both humans and the computer network. All right, and I'm gonna give you an example of what this might look like. Okay, so if you can try to understand this if you want. I'm gonna help you to try to break it down. Okay, you're familiar with the 26 alphanumeric codes that make up your Bitcoin address or your wallet address. All right, so let's say this was yours. All right, so we're gonna put this in a storage slot and we're gonna identify that as the buyer. Okay, and this is the note. Then the store seller's Ethereum address. Okay, so this is the seller. So we got a buyer and a seller address. And we're going to put both of these in the storage. And this one is going to be identified as the seller. Okay, and then this is the note. On April 1st of 2014, this is the computer time. This number right here is in computer time. Put this number right here, which is computer time. Put this time in storage slot deadline. Okay, this is the deadline time. All right, now this is the next note. If the agreed amount is received on time, okay, and this is how the EtherScript will look, okay? So basically, like we already discovered, this is simply put programming language, okay? If you're familiar with HTML or CSS or JavaScript or C++ or any of those, then this is simply just a code. And with Ethereum, this code is absolute. So when this thing execute, this thing is gonna execute exactly how it was programmed to, okay? So reading agreements in this form is obviously going to take some getting used to, but no more than the legalese that's already being produced by today's contract lawyers. Fill-in-the-blank scripts are likely going to become available for common uses. Specialists could craft very custom agreements already like the lawyers doing already today, right? So in return, we eliminate the I thought, you thought confusion and remove all uncertainty over whether the other person will follow through. The script both defines and enforces the agreement, okay? It is essentially an unbreakable contract. This is a very powerful thing. Now, as another example, organizations formed under traditional law can also be formed using Ethereum instead. A corporation normally has articles of incorporation, a legal agreement which defines voting rights of owners, powers and limitations of the CEO, and so forth. This can be defined in EtherScript such as that the CEO is elected by a 2/3 vote of the owners and that the CEO can authorize use of the funds up to a limit without the majority approval. Okay, initially, Ethereum law will find a natural fit to agreements where items of value are digital. Control of Ether itself and other digital assets like websites, software, digital content, cloud storage, and the like could be enforced most directly. Okay, but in time, this could naturally spread to the real world. For example, cars of the future could have ignitions that respond to a digital key. If the EtherScript lease agreement was breached, the car won't even start. Imagine that. In a world where private and public law can be perfectly observed, enforced, a lot becomes possible. you might imagine a town defining all of its local laws in Ether script. New laws and modifications can only be made by a voting system defined by the town charter, also written in Ether script. Residents could have a perfect certainty about how laws would apply to them and how they are enforced when choosing to live there. Wow. When viewed from the future, today's current legal system seems downright primitive. We have law libraries built and filled with words that nobody reads and whose meaning is unclear, even to the courts who enforce them arbitrarily. Our private contracts amount to vague personal promises and a mere hope that they might be honored. For the first time, Ethereum offers an alternative, a new kind of law. So I just wanted to get this video out here to you guys because, like I said, I know a lot of people are still just a little bit unclear about what Ethereum is and what they're actually getting invested into. Okay, so I'm gonna leave a link to all of the information that I cited today, and you can go back, do your own due diligence, do some more research on this, and find out that you are invested or getting ready to invest into $1 billion industry. All right, so thanks again for checking us out, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.